Hello, Anthem Church. Wow, things continue to change at a pretty amazing rate. I just made a joke that said I haven't checked the news in 15 minutes. I wonder what's happened. But that is really kind of where we find ourselves. Found ourselves in a place that none of us have been before. I just want to give you a little bit of an update about where we are and some of the things that we're going to be providing for you, our church family, in the coming weeks. Yesterday we had a very strange day in which we did 3 services: 8 o'clock, 9:30, and 11, and we live streamed that out. We had almost 400 people that clicked in. That means I think conservatively we could say that we're probably in the 800 people range that were watching yesterday. So good job. Thank you for that. Thank you for following through and having church from your patio or your couch or wherever that might be. With all of the things that are happening, the president just spoke just a little bit ago and talked about how they're really wanting people to not be in groups of more than 10. And so things continue to change. So it looks like we're going to be in this spot for a little bit. And I know that we're going to be doing this for the next 2 Sundays, because they're saying for 15 days. More likely it's going to go into April. So we are making plans for how to do that. So I just want you to know that. So here's some things that we're going to be doing. One of the things we're going to be doing is I'm going to try to come in 2 or 3 times a week and do something like this, where I'll talk about what's going on, have a little bit of a devotional, and we'll do that. On Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock, our children's ministry is going to be putting out a family worship for K through 5th grade. So if that fits your family, you'll be able to gather around, you'll be able to watch that. It's going to be interactive and give you some things to do and some ways to interact with your kids to give them their worship experience. And that's going to happen on each Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Our student ministry is going to be doing some things as well, and Pastor Dave's going to be talking about what that's going to be. It looks like that's probably going to be on Thursday. If you're parents of teenagers and you're not part of the text group that we have set up, if you would text Amplify Youth to 97000. That's Amplify Youth. Text Amplify Youth to 97000. It's also on our website. They give you the information on how to do that. And that's the best way to stay up to date on how we're going to be doing student ministry in the coming weeks. This Wednesday, I'm going to start a midweek Bible study. We'll be live streaming that out. That'll be at 6:30 on Wednesday evenings. And we're going to start this week. And we're just going to do that for this time period so that we'll be able to take advantage of some of those things. We're also thinking through, and what does it look like to do this kind of thing for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, however long that we have to do it. So just rest assured that that's what we're doing. If you look at the calendar, Easter's not that far away. And so this is what we're going to do for Easter. When we can come back and gather as a church and give each other high fives and have the cafe open and what all the other stuff that we're going to do, we're still going to have Easter. Now, it may not be on Easter, but we're going to have Easter, and we're going to have an Easter celebration. So know that we're going to do that. We'll do the digital one on Easter Sunday, and then we'll come back and do the one where we're all together. I know this is a difficult time. I know that it's very weird having to stand in line to get into a grocery store, things being shut down, being told not to go into restaurants and things like that, and the stuff that's happening with the stock market. And it's just, and then we think about how this is happening across the world. It'd be really easy to get discouraged. I feel like that we're being forced to kind of crawl in a cave. I want to share with you a little bit from a devotional from for today, March the 16th. It's from New Morning Mercies from Paul David Tripp. It's Psalms chapter 4. I would really encourage you to read some Psalms because Psalms is a perfect thing to be reading during these days of uncertainty. Here's what he says. David says, "Answer me when I call, O God of my righteousness. You have given me relief when I was in distress. Be gracious to me and hear my prayer. O men, how long shall my honor be turned into shame? How long will you love vain words and seek after lies? but know that the Lord has set apart the godly for himself. The Lord hears when I call to him. Be angry and do not sin. Ponder in your own hearts, on your beds, and be silent. Offer right sacrifices and put your trust in the Lord. There are many who say, who will show us some good? Lift up the light of your face upon us, O Lord. You have put more joy in my heart than they have when their grain and wine abound. In peace I will both lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, may dwell in safety. Now, these words are written by David. David is in this place where he's running from his son. His son Absalom is trying to take over his throne. And so during this time, David is having to hide in a cave. He's having to isolate. He is socially distancing himself because his son's trying to kill him. And the only way to take over a monarchy is to take out the person who is the current king. And that's what his son is trying to do. And David is distraught. He's in grief. He's not content. And yet he's writing this. He's talking about having the joy of the Lord from him. And I love how he says to give me more joy, which means he already has some joy. He just wants some more of it. And he knows that God's going to hear his prayer. Was he content? Of course not. Listen how David writes this about David. He says, is David content? Of course not. It appears that little good can come out of this moment in his life. Yet in his grief and discontent, he knows remarkable peace. He even talks about his heart being filled with joy. Why? Because at the deepest of levels, neither his peace nor his joy is based on the circumstances, but on God who rules the circumstances. If David's security is in God and God alone, then he has as much security in that cave as he does in the palace, because it is the Lord alone who makes him dwell in safety. There is no doubt in David's words. David knew where he was placing his trust. He knew that he wasn't going to place his contentment or his joy in his circumstances. And it didn't matter if he's in the cave or in the palace. He knew where his joy came from. And that, may we be encouraged in that. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of things that we don't know right now. And for most of us, we're going to be doing church very differently than we have ever done in our life. But let's be thankful that we've got the technology to do it. Let's be thankful that we're really not having to go to a cave and stay in a cave for the next 8 weeks, that we get to stay in our houses and we still get to do some of the things that we normally do while we do what's best for our community and we do what's best for our nation. So be encouraged. Keep checking in on these on our app and on our webpage. Like I said, I'm going to try to do two or three of these a week. And so if I do these Monday, we have Bible study on Wednesday. I do something on a Friday. We have children on Tuesday, youth on Thursday. Then we've got something just about every day of the week. And we'll continue to live feed on Sundays. And you be encouraged. We're gonna get through this together, even though we're not together. We're not together physically, but we are together in spirit. So stay strong, stay encouraged, place your trust and your hope in our God, not in our circumstances, and we will be fine. Talk to you soon.